Yay! A little longer than usual, but such a good endpoint, isn't it? So, today, very strange verse. I don't even completely know how he got from this to the rumination, although I really appreciate the rumination. Abraham had two sons, the one by a handmaid, the other by a free woman. Galatians 4:22. Okay. And in this, though, continuing to consider this whole relationship of the natural world to the spiritual world, Christ, for example, unlike Buddha, who was kind of pursuing separation, sort of divorcing yourselves, releasing all attachment to anything, judgment, even love to a degree. Even love is an attachment. Let go of all things, release all things of this world to separate yourselves from this fleshy stuff. Christ calls me to separate myself from this fleshy stuff, but to separate myself from it in sacrifice to Him, in sacrifice to God. And I don't even know how that always is going to play out, but I know that it is necessary as a mission of my heart to do so, to take all elements that are of this natural life, this day-to-day existence, whether it be eating, sleeping, drinking, hanging out with people, dancing, laughing, singing, making comedy, making art, painting, bathing, fighting, arguing, debating, anything and everything that we encounter in our daily life must be, at the very least, secondary to my pursuit of God's favor, to my obedience to God, to my endless adoration of Christ. And it's not that God wants to rob you of all things that you enjoy on this earth, but he wants them to be His, and He wants to put you in right relationship to them, and in right relationship, therefore, to yourself, and to those things. There's a piece of wisdom in "Thou shalt have no other gods before me" that I know has been true. I can sometimes make a god out of work, I guess, out of labor, out of the labor of my mind or my hands, and I can sometimes make a god out of, what's the word? I guess out of intellect. I can make a god out of intellect and wit and reason and logic and all those sort of fun things. Not to mention word games and word play. I guess that really falls under the wit category, doesn't it? Genuinely speaking. But God wants to transform that even. And He has in my life. You know what? It's very funny. But Christ has transformed my sense of humor. You can ask Artie, who's even only known me for 12, 13 years, how my sense of humor has changed, and it's still pretty similar, and I'll still shock her sometimes, but there was elements of that which I enjoyed, and which could be genuinely funny, but weren't transformative, and weren't given up to God yet, for whatever reason, because I value those things, and I held comedy to be nigh on sacred, and I still love it, but I have offered it up as a sacrifice. And I know what you're saying. What does this mean, man? Does it just mean everything has to be about Jesus all the time, 24/7? In one vein, yes. But in one vein, in that everything has to be talking about Christ all the time, every day, every second, I do not believe that God says that or expects that of us. because he gave us this whole world of troubles and toil and things to do, and we are to be involved in them, and we're to be involved in simple acts of service that can involve just clothing a person, feeding a person, comforting a person, running our hands through a person's hair, just clinging a person to us, all those things totally normal. Going to the bathroom, eating, you can do all these things. It's fine. You don't have to be like, Jesus, 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 this is the best BM. It's not. However, he's Lord of your life wherever you are. Okay, so then you're also saying, how do you do this? I don't know. Really. I mean, specifically. But I do know the methods that have worked for me and that he calls us to do, which are just obedience in the grand sense, which is learn the law of God, know the law of God in your heart, feel it too, and obey it. That tends to work. Look at the fruits of what you're doing. And if the fruits are ever ill to me, if they're in any way not transformative, not delicious, then I've got to watch that, and I've got to figure that piece out. Prayer is huge. For me, one of the awesomest revelations was letting things be an act of worship. And I literally consecrate things I do, like before shows or whatever. I'll be like, I will go and I will consecrate my show to Christ. Every show I've ever performed at Hot House, for example, I've gone out back and I said, Lord, I don't know how, but you can be glorified in this, but be glorified in this. And just make me a servant, and thank you for this place, and let this just be an act of worship. Let me worship you out there through what I do. And does that mean in every show I talk about Jesus the whole time and I'm trying to convert people? No. Does that mean I'm filled with the love of the Lord in my heart? Yes. It's not always easy, because it's not always easy to identify the things. So even that I've been having to pray about. And I'm sure there are more. But that's just some of them. That's just some of what I'm going through. I think that asked this one before, but let me know. This is my question of the day. What are some of the gods of your life, lowercase g? What are some of the things that you would fight and die for? Like chocolate milk has often been on my list. Yeah. What are the small g gods in your life? Pets, people, things, foods. Tell me all. And good luck with all that consecration.